So today we're going over the third encounter in my walkthrough series for Desert Perpetual. This is going to be the Wyvern encounter. Now this encounter is actually pretty simple to kind of think about and at least understand, but in terms of some tips and what everybody's role is going to be, there are quite a few different things you're going to want to think about. Now, to start the encounter, everybody's kind of doing the same thing. There's going to be 6 Minotaurs that spawn near where the boss Wyvern is, and you're going to want to kill those Minotaurs, pick up one of the Chronons, and hop through the hoop in the center of the room. That is going to be filling up your little kind of like sand hourglass thing that'll be underneath the hoop, and once that fills up completely, you'll be able to shoot a box underneath it in order to start the next phase of the encounter. You can see the diamond on my screen right here. When this diamond has been shot, this is when you're going to basically be splitting into your different roles. The first role we're going to show is the runner's role, and this is going to be 2 of your players. And also note that once you shoot this diamond, basically the quote-unquote sand that is filled up in this timer is going to start draining, and basically your goal is to never let this sand completely dissipate. That's going to be the main thing of the runners. As time goes on, the sand will slowly dissipate, and every single time you pick up a Chronon and jump through the hoop, you're adding more time, you're adding more sand. So again, we're going to go ahead and show the runner's job first. Basically, all they need to do is find more Minotaurs, just like we did at the very start, kill them, and then bring their Chronons back through the hoop. That's what's going to be adding more time so that your sand doesn't completely dissipate. So your box players, which we'll explain their role here in a second, are going to want to call out to you if they do see the Minotaurs on their side. These Minotaurs will pretty much always spawn on one of the 3 corners of the map, and you're going to want both of your runners to go there because they will always spawn in pairs. There's no really reason to be too split up here. I mean, you can split up a little bit in terms of actually finding the Minotaurs. Once they've been found, you want to have both people go over and pick up these Chronons so that they can both jump through the hoop and add more time. Now, do note if you do kill the Minotaurs that the Chronons do not last on the ground forever, so you do want to make sure to pick them up relatively quickly before they despawn, otherwise you pretty much just wasted them. But again, this is all you're doing the entire encounter until damage phase. You're just finding Minotaurs, killing them, picking up Chronons, and jumping through the hoop. Obviously, if you see other enemies there'll be a lot of harpies around the room. You can obviously go ahead and shoot those. Do be careful to not accidentally shoot any of the boxes when you are doing this role. That is not going to be your job, and you do not want to be shooting them. If you do accidentally shoot a box, that is going to basically remove sand from your timer, so it's going to kind of like work against what you're even trying to do here. But again, you're just running around the room trying to find Minotaurs. The one tip that I would give is the Minotaurs do seem to spawn near where the boss is heading. So if you see the big Wyvern kind of heading a direction and you don't already know where the Minotaurs are, it's usually a good idea to maybe head that direction. That's very likely where the Minotaurs are going to be spawning next. Now next we're going to look from a box player perspective, and your job, as is probably pretty obvious, is going to be to shoot the square boxes that will be near one of the 3 sides. So when you shoot the box or kind of diamond in the middle, that is going to start kind of the main mechanic of the encounter, which as you'll see on the top of your screen, again as soon as I shoot this diamond, is the diastole. That is going to need, or basically lead to 2 different things. This will be charging up 1 box at a time. So right now you can see that there's 3 boxes that are lit up, and that 4th box is going to light up very shortly. It's basically a metronome. So there's like, basically the 1st box, 2nd box, 3rd box, 4th box lights up. It repeats that process. It's going to be at a very, metronome type pace, very consistent pace. And 2 things are going to need to happen on that 4th beat, or well, 2 things one thing will happen and one thing you're going to want to do. The one thing that happens is on that 4th beat, you will get booped up into the air no matter what. As you can see there, I just kind of get booped off the ground, and no matter where you are on the map, even if you're in the air, sometimes you'll also still feel that boop. Most of the time, if you're jumping, it won't really get booped, but again, if you're touching any ground, you will get booped up in the air. Now, the second thing you're going to want to do is basically on that 4th beat, both you and your 2 other box teammates need to shoot one of your boxes. Now, basically what these boxes are going to do is going to be building platforms for your runner, which will show the runner job here in a second as the last roll. But you need to shoot your box on the 4th beat, and you need to shoot these from bottom to top. As you do each one, it's going to create more and more platforms for your runner in order for them to get up to the top in order to start the damage phase. So a couple really important things. Again, you need to shoot on the 4th beat, not after the 4th beat, not before the 4th beat, like on the 4th box. So again, you'll see here really quickly when I show this one more time, 1st, 2nd, 3rd, on the fourth, we shoot like immediately. And if you do it right, you'll notice that there's going to be a white diamond that replaces your box. You'll also know that if your entire team does it right, if we go back here again, you can see the white diamond that appears there. And if all three people do it correctly, you're going to see that Iatros loses control of phase space. That's how you know that you actually created those platforms for your runner teammate or for your jumper teammate, and that your three box people all did things correctly. If you shoot the box incorrectly, or if only one of the box people shoots, or if one person shoots it late, if any of the three people do not do it successfully, it's going to drain sand from your sand timer that we talked about for the runners. And that's going to be very, very bad very, very quickly if you start messing it up multiple times. Now, a couple of tips here. I would recommend always doing that first box on the first kind of set of 4, right? So like again, we shot the diamond in middle. That's when the actual when this mechanic actually starts. I would do that first bottom box on the first 4 because again, this is going to be the easiest time, and it's going to get your runner or your jumper kind of started into the part that they actually need to do. Now, for a while here, you're going to skip for a while. You're not going to shoot this on every fourth beat. It's not, you're just going to go do the second one immediately. You got to wait for your jumper to tell you that they've completed their mechanic, and then also confirm with your other 2 teammates, your other 2 box teammates. Once the jumper's completed the mechanic, confirm that your other 2 teammates are ready, and then you're going to go ahead and shoot the middle box on the 4th beat the next time. So again, we'll go through a few more rounds here. Eventually, our jumper will be ready, our other 2 teammates will be ready, we shoot on the 4th beat, we get the white diamond, Iatros loses control of a phase space, we did it correctly again. So that's going to create more platforms for our jumper to get even higher. And again, on the 3rd round, again, once your jumper's in position, and once your other 2 box players are ready, you're going to do the exact same thing on the highest box, the 3rd box. So here, shoot the 3rd box on the 4th beat, Iatros loses control of the phase space. At this point, you've done everything in your role that you need to do as a box player. You're pretty much just waiting for damage phase. Now, a couple tips before we move forward. If for whatever reason your jumper ever falls, you can go back and actually shoot the other boxes. So if you kind of go back a little bit here in the footage, you'll notice that only one kind of box is gone at any given time. So if we can kind of see just off to the side here, we have the box on the bottom that we originally did, but at this point where the second box that we just did is missing, because right now those platforms that box creates are actually in the play space for the jumper. But let's say they fell to the ground and they couldn't get back there, you could always shoot this bottom box as a team, as your 3 box people, the same exact way you did before, and that would recreate those bottom platforms for your jumper and allow them to get to the first kind of section, and then do the middle one again, allow them to get to the second section, and then redo the 3rd section. So that's one really important tip. Second really important tip is kind of a combined tip. If the Wyvern, if the boss is right on top of you, or right on top of one of the people on the box team, or you're just kind of getting overrun by ads for whatever reason, you really want to let your teammates know that and not try to shoot the box at the same time. It's much better to kind of skip a few extra rounds and just let the diastole go for a round or 2, than try to shoot the box but mess it up. Because again, you're losing a little bit of dust of sand just by kind of waiting. You lose a lot more by messing up the box mechanic. So much more important to do it correctly the first time if you can. Also note, again, if for whatever reason you do miss one, like you tried to shoot the box and do miss, I'd recommend waiting around, make sure everybody knows that you missed, rather than like messing it up multiple times in a row, because then that's going to just make things really, really hairy. Now I do want to go over one specific tip for the right side box player, or kind of a couple tips for the right side box player. The Wyvern tends to come over here a lot, I feel like, and you're kind of in an awkward spot while doing so, but use this kind of cover that I'm standing by to your advantage. Sometimes the Wyvern will come all the way back here, and you can kind of come forward and basically use that cover from your behind, or sometimes the Wyvern will stand where I am right now. You can come back where these harpies are, and again, kind of manipulate the Wyvern and peek out the left side, peek out the right side for the boxes. Other tip you can have if the Wyvern's really, really up on you in this section is you can actually just go to the middle where the Wyvern is right now, and where the Wyvern starts the encounter, and just be in the middle and shoot your boxes from the center while the Wyvern's hanging out over here. So basically, super TLDR of this tip is if you are playing this side for the boxes, don't be afraid to move. Don't feel like you have to stay like right where I am right now. Again, especially if this Wyvern starts pushing you like he is now, you can kind of go out the side door. You can move around. You don't have to stay exactly there. You can move to the middle. Again, moving to the middle, especially when the Wyvern really pushes up here, is a very, very useful tip as well. Now we're going to go ahead and go over the final roll, which is going to be the jumper roll. And the first thing you're going to want to note for this roll is the color of the portal is going to give you a little bit of a heads up. Basically, if the portal is white, you are going to want to start over by the raid flag, which we'll show you here in this clip. If the portal is blue, you're going to start in the center over by where the Wyvern normally spawns. And if the portal is red, there's actually a plate down kind of at the top of my screen, just past the portal from my current vision. You can't quite see it here, but that is going to be where you start if the portal is red. If you don't remember those colors, it's not really a huge deal. The other way you can tell is once you shoot the little diamond that's underneath the sand here, you're going to notice that a buff spawns on one of those 3 plates that I just mentioned. So here in a second, when we go ahead and shoot that diamond and I turn around, you'll see the little plate that kind of glows with this little buff, just like that. Just like all the other encounters that have a buff, same exact idea. You'll get that absolute temporality, and you're going to need that in order to do this jump mechanic. Because once you get up here, you're going to need to use it to activate the little oracle. Again, also, you're going to be dealing with a whole bunch of these imps. These imps are super sus, super annoying. First thing, make sure you kill them, because if they start shooting you and you try to activate that little oracle, it's going to stop you from activating it. It's going to be really annoying, so you just want to just kill them, get them out of the way ahead of time. And then B, again, you want to kill them because otherwise they're going to kill you. A heal clip rocket sidearm or some sort of overshield or some sort of healing, really, really helpful against them here. Because again, they're going to be pretty nonstop, especially if you're, depending on if your box players end up missing a couple. Like in this clip, we end up actually having to kind of be up here longer than you normally would, but just kind of showing you a more sus one in order to kind of show you like what can happen and just to kind of be prepared for it. Now, the other thing you want to be prepared for is, as a warlock, A, don't fall off the map, but it's okay because you have Icarus Dash. But B, you see these little white kind of holographic lines. They're going to be pointing you towards where the next platforms are going to spawn when you are, or basically when your box players create your next platforms for you. So especially as a warlock, probably as a titan as well, you want to kind of be preemptively jumping at this spot so that if and when they do create those platforms for you, you'll be ready, because the platforms that you're currently on are going to go away immediately. So really important to kind of do what I did there, kind of float jump towards it, and then if they get it correct, the platforms will be created. Don't be too aggressive towards it though, right? Because again, like if you jump this way and then suddenly they didn't get the box or didn't get the platforms for you, you would have to kind of fall back and make sure you get back to the platform you were on. So I like to kind of jump forward, or kind of just jump upwards mostly on a warlock, because you know we're very floaty. Everybody always talks about that. And then like again, if I realize that the platform is being created, then I'll move all the way forward, maybe Icarus Dash forward if I need to as well. Really, really helpful on that one. Again, hunters can kind of wait a little bit more and just do the like quick little hops because they can hop from like no momentum. But again, warlocks can absolutely do this too. Just again, be a little bit preemptive about it. Now again, the other tip I would give here is definitely communicating with your box players and listening to your box players, because again, if you know that they're not going for the current box, right? Maybe they're waiting, maybe somebody's got a wyvern on them, then you know you don't have to jump this direction. You know, you can just kind of take a round, just kind of vibe. Again, you're getting booped by the diastole up here too, so keep that in mind as well. You don't want to wait till that 4th beat and then get booped but not actually get kind of your full jump that you're going to want. So keep that in mind in terms of like making sure you're up in the air before the 4th beat, especially if you're going to need to make it to that next platform. Now, once you've activated that 3rd oracle, that is going to start damage phase for your team. Do note that the wyvern will teleport, no matter where it is, it's going to teleport to the plate that you started on. So again, this was white, so it teleported to the plate by the raid flag. If the portal was blue, it would have teleported pretty much right behind where I'm at right now. And if it was red, it would have teleported down the kind of the right side of the room from this perspective, or again, the left side from the raid flag. Either way, you'll see him. The room's not that big, you know, you can just find where he is, you know, and get to damaging. But basically, just shoot him. He's going to walk around. There's still going to be ads up and stuff. If you have a well, it's helpful. If you have a couple wells, it's helpful. Song of Flame, also helpful for some extra resistance. Barricade from Titan, also helpful. Golden Guns are helpful. Thunder Crashes are helpful. Tethers are helpful. Pretty much, you know, pretty much any super. You want to spam your supers. You should be able to get a couple supers off during the damage phase. And then it's just rinse, repeat. So, again, you see there, we got him under half. Go for one more phase and we can take him out. Again, just like the other encounters like we talked about over the first 2 videos, Outbreak is still pretty good here. I feel like Outbreak is maybe the least good here out of all 4 encounters. Like it's really, really, really good in the other 3. This one is like a little more awkward just because you're probably going to need a div with it in order to actually be hitting crits and stuff like that, which is, you know, pretty important when it comes to Outbreak. So, you know, put somebody on div, which kind of weakens them. and then you have one less outbreak, etc., etc. But it's still really solid. You can still get a very solid 2-phase, no problem with it. But again, I've heard also Acreus can work quite well here. I feel like that's going to be a little bit harder just in terms of A, it's taking up your heavy slot, and B, you kind of got to stick really more with the boss rather than being able to shoot him from more of a distance as he's moving away. So I maybe wouldn't recommend Acreus if you're kind of newer to the encounter or not super comfortable with Acreus. I think, again, Outbreak is totally fine and just makes it pretty smooth and pretty safe. So just some weapon recommendations. And that's all for today. I hope this video was helpful, and be on the lookout for my final part of the raid series guide for the final boss, hopefully either later today or tomorrow. And as always, thank you so much for watching, and have a wonderful day.